When your dog jumps onto the bed at night, you probably think he wants comfort, warmth, a soft place to sleep. And that makes sense. But it's wrong. Not completely, but enough that you're missing what he's really communicating every single time he chooses to sleep beside you. Because a dog that sleeps with you isn't just looking for comfort. He's doing something much deeper, much older, and much more revealing about how he feels about you than anything he could express any other way. In this video, you'll discover 7 things your dog is saying when he sleeps with you. 7 behaviors you see every night and probably never stop to decode. And these aren't just guesses. Every one of them is backed by research on canine behavior, and each one will change the way you see that moment when he jumps onto the bed and settles down beside you. But here's what I need you to understand before we begin. Ignoring these signals isn't harmless. There's a real cost to it, because some of these messages come when he's trying to protect you. Others come when he's trying to tell you something isn't right with him, and most owners spend years without realizing either one. I'm saving the most important one for the end. It's the thing most dog owners see every single night and never understand what it means. But once you understand it, you'll never look at him sleeping the same way again. Think about this for a second. You probably bought him a dog bed, maybe even more than one. Maybe you even tried to train him to sleep there. And he did, for a while, before coming right back to your bed. Why? The obvious answer is because your bed is more comfortable, softer, warmer, more spacious. But that explanation falls apart, because if it were only about physical comfort, he would choose the softest place in the house, not necessarily the place where you are. A dog that only wants comfort sleeps on the couch, the fluffy rug, the armchair. Many dogs do exactly that when they're alone. But when you're home and you go to the bedroom, he follows you. This isn't about the mattress, it's about you. Researchers at the University of Veterinary Medicine, Vienna conducted studies on canine attachment using the same protocol psychologists use to measure attachment in human babies, the so-called strange situation test. The results were unmistakable. Dogs form real attachment bonds with their owners. Bonds based on emotional connection, not just conditioning through food or routine. And just like a baby seeks out a caregiver as a secure base, your dog seeks out you. The bed is the territory, but you are the reason. When he chooses to sleep beside you instead of anywhere else in the house, he's saying, in the only language he knows, "You are my safe place. You are where I belong." And this is where it gets even more interesting, because the exact position he chooses beside you isn't random. It says far more than most owners realize. Have you ever noticed that he always sleeps in the same place? Not just on the bed, in the exact same spot on the bed. Curled up against your feet, pressed against your stomach, resting his head on your chest, or leaning against your back as if he's trying to fuse the two of you into a single being. It looks like random preference. It isn't. Every sleeping position carries different information about his emotional state and about what he feels toward you. If he sleeps against your feet or legs, that's protective positioning. In wolf packs, the more alert members sleep on the outer edges of the group, ready to react first if something happens. By choosing your feet, he's placing himself on the front line, close to you, but positioned to respond. It's care with strategic distance. If he sleeps pressed against your stomach or back, curved into the same shape as your body, that's synchronization. It's a behavior ethologists, scientists who study animal behavior, call contact sleeping. In wild canids, this behavior appears between individuals with strong emotional bonds within the group. Not every pack member sleeps this way with every other member. It's reserved for real attachment. If he places his head on your chest, that's maximum intimacy. He's lying over your heart, unconsciously synchronizing with your heartbeat and your breathing. Researchers at the University of Lincoln documented that dogs with strong attachment bonds actively seek proximity to the human chest area, the region that emits the most body heat and where the heartbeat is most audible. For an animal whose nervous system is deeply regulated by the rhythm of the group, this is the equivalent of saying, "Your presence alone calms me down." And what if he changes positions from one night to another? Pay attention to that, because the position he chooses often reflects his emotional state that day. On nights when he feels more anxious, he stays closer. On nights when he feels calm and secure, he may sleep a little farther away, but still within your territory. The variation isn't inconsistency, it's communication. Every night, through the place he chooses to occupy, he's telling you how he feels. And if you think that's already deep, the next point goes even deeper, because while you're sleeping, he isn't just resting, he's working. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and realized he wasn't beside you anymore? Maybe you heard him moving around, walking through the room, sniffing near the door, and then coming back to bed and lying down again? Most owners think anxiety, restlessness, a bad dream. But most of the time, it's none of that. It's guard duty. Domestic dogs descend from canines that operated in groups with nighttime surveillance systems. It wasn't a matter of everyone sleeping safely at the same time. There were shifts, members of the group who monitored the perimeter while the others rested. That instinct didn't disappear through domestication, it was redirected. And the perimeter your dog monitors now is your bedroom. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology documented that domestic dogs maintain nighttime vigilance patterns that mirror the behavior of their wild ancestors, even in completely safe urban environments. The trigger isn't the presence of a real threat, it's the presence of someone they feel responsible for protecting. In other words, you. When he gets up, checks the door, sniffs the air, looks out the window, and then comes back to lie down beside you, he just completed a patrol. He checked the perimeter, confirmed everything was safe, and returned to his post. That isn't restlessness, it's duty fulfilled. And here's the detail most people never notice. He doesn't do this for the entire house. He does it for the room you're in. If you sleep in a different room one night, he changes the perimeter. You are the center of the patrol, not the space itself. Think about what that means. He's giving up hours of deep sleep to make sure you're safe, without being told, without expecting a reward, purely because in his emotional hierarchy, you occupy the position that must be protected. That is loyalty in the most literal sense possible. And if you think his connection to your emotional state only exists while you're awake, the next point is going to surprise you, because he's reading you even when you think you're completely switched off. If this is making you see your dog in a completely different way, consider subscribing to the channel. We post new videos every week to help owners understand what their dogs are trying to communicate, because they're communicating all the time. We just have to learn to listen. Have you ever had a terrible week without telling anyone, without showing much, and noticed that he was acting differently, more attached, quieter beside you, staying close in a way that isn't normal for him? That wasn't a coincidence. Dogs have between 220 and 300 million olfactory receptors in their noses. Humans have around 5 million, and the difference isn't just quantitative, it's qualitative. Dogs can detect chemical compounds at concentrations that even our laboratory instruments struggle to identify. And stress has a scent. When your cortisol levels, the body's stress hormone, rises, the chemical composition of your sweat, your breath, and even your skin changes. Those changes are invisible to every human in the room, but for your dog, who sleeps beside you every night and has built a complete scent map of your resting body, any variation becomes obvious. A study published in the journal PLOS1 by researchers at Queen's University Belfast confirmed that dogs can accurately detect sweat and breath samples from humans experiencing acute stress, distinguishing them from samples taken from the same people in a calm state. He isn't comforting you because he noticed you seem sad. He's responding to a real chemical shift your body is producing. And nighttime is when this becomes even more intense. Because when you lie down, when the movement stops and the silence settles in, your body keeps processing everything that happened during the day. Cortisol levels may still be elevated, your heart rate may remain slightly accelerated, and he's there, inches away from you, reading every signal. That's why he stays closer on difficult nights. That's why he sometimes rests his head on your lap for no apparent reason. He follows you around the room as if he doesn't want to lose sight of you. He noticed. Before you verbalized it, before you admitted it to yourself, he noticed. And the part that makes this even more meaningful is that dogs are not emotional support animals by social obligation the way primates are. They are not biologically required to comfort distressed members of the group. When your dog does this, it's a choice, an individual response to the specific bond he has with you. He shows up on your worst days because he wants to. But there's another side to this connection that goes beyond emotion, and most owners never associate it with sleeping together. The next point is about what happens to both of your bodies while you sleep. But what if he stops? What if, out of nowhere, with no obvious change in routine, no conflict, nothing you can clearly identify, he simply stops jumping onto the bed? Most owners think he got tired of it. He wants more space. It's just a phase. But here's what veterinary behaviorists know that most owners don't. Changes in sleeping patterns are often the first sign that something is wrong, long before any visible physical symptoms appear. Dogs are masters at hiding pain and discomfort. It's an evolutionary behavior. In the wild, showing weakness attracts predators and can lead to exclusion from the group. So, instinct says, hide it. Keep functioning. Don't show vulnerability. But behavior changes, and sleep is often where that change appears first. If he stops getting on the bed after years of doing it, it may be because jumping up hurts. Joint problems, muscle pain, developing hip dysplasia, conditions that may not yet cause visible limping, but already make the effort uncomfortable enough for him to avoid it. If he starts pulling away during the night when he used to stay pressed against you, it may be because physical contact has become uncomfortable. Skin sensitivity, abdominal pain, localized muscle tension, the touch that once felt comforting now feels irritating. If he suddenly looks for hidden places to sleep, under the bed, behind furniture, corners he used to ignore, that's a classic sign of stress or of an animal that no longer feels safe inside its own body. Dogs that isolate themselves are, more often than not, experiencing silent suffering. On the other hand, if he suddenly becomes far more attached than usual, when he previously liked having his own space at night, that also deserves attention. An excessive search for warmth can indicate that his body is struggling to regulate temperature properly, which may signal several conditions that require veterinary evaluation. The point isn't to panic over every little change. The point is to pay attention when the pattern changes and stays changed. One unusual night is just one unusual night, but 3 consecutive days of altered behavior, especially when combined with other subtle signs like eating less, drinking more water, becoming quieter, or avoiding eye contact, is your dog whispering that something isn't right. And the owners who catch these things early are usually the same ones who paid attention to where their dog slept. Now, the next point is about something that happens between the two of you every single night, and it goes far beyond emotion. It's physiological, and once you understand what's happening inside both of your bodies while you sleep together, it becomes very difficult to call it just a habit. Have you ever woken up and realized he was breathing in the same rhythm as you? You probably didn't notice it, but it happens. There's a phenomenon called physiological co-regulation, and it isn't exclusive to humans. Co-regulation happens when 2 nervous systems in physical proximity and in a state of mutual trust begin influencing each other unconsciously. Heart rate, breathing rhythm, body temperature, sleep patterns, all of these begin to synchronize when 2 organisms are close enough and emotionally aligned enough. Researchers at Umeå University in Sweden documented this phenomenon specifically in human-dog pairs. When owners and their dogs sleep in physical contact, their heart rate variability patterns, a key marker of autonomic nervous system regulation, tend to become more aligned. The two organisms regulate each other during sleep. This isn't metaphor, it's physiology. So, what does that mean in practice? It means that the nights when he sleeps pressed against you may actually be nights when you sleep better. Not only because his presence feels emotionally comforting, although it does, but because his nervous system is literally influencing yours. His steady breathing, constant body warmth, and physical weight anchoring you to the bed all send signals of safety to your nervous system. And the same is true for him. Dogs that sleep in contact with their owners show lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone, than dogs that sleep alone. This isn't just emotional comfort, it's real chemical regulation mediated through physical closeness and emotional bonding. The two of you are regulating each other while you sleep. Think about what that idea does to the scene you experience every night. That moment when he jumps onto the bed, circles once, settles beside you, and lets out a deep sigh. That sigh isn't just exhaustion, it's his nervous system lowering its defenses, recognizing the environment as safe, entering recovery mode because you are there. And your body responds the same way. Two nervous systems that trust each other, regulating one another in the dark, in silence, without either one consciously understanding what's happening. If that isn't connection, I don't know what is. And now we arrive at the final point. The behavior you see every single night, the one that seems small, almost meaningless, but is actually the most significant thing a dog can do for someone.
You see it every night. Maybe you smile at it. Maybe you even take pictures of it. But you've probably never stopped to understand what's really happening when he does it. I'm talking about the moment he falls into deep sleep beside you. The paws that start twitching. The soft, almost inaudible bark that slips out without waking him. The subtle tremor running through his body. The breathing that becomes heavier, slower, completely surrendered. It looks cute. It looks harmless. But it's far more than that. Dogs, like humans, go through sleep cycles that include the REM stage, rapid eye movement. REM is where dreams happen, where emotional memories are processed, where the nervous system performs its deepest maintenance and recovery. And REM is also the moment when the body enters its most physically vulnerable state. Muscles relaxed, reflexes suppressed, awareness of the environment nearly gone. A dog in deep REM sleep cannot properly respond to a threat. He cannot defend himself. He often cannot even wake up fast enough to escape. In the wild, entering REM sleep is a calculated risk. Wild canids only reach deep sleep in places considered safe by the entire group, and even then, with other members remaining alert. No survival-dependent animal willingly allows itself that level of vulnerability in an environment it does not consider completely secure. A study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science confirmed that domestic dogs only achieve regular, complete REM sleep in environments where they feel safe, and that the owner's presence is one of the most significant factors associated with reaching that stage. Now connect the dots. When your dog enters REM sleep beside you, when his paws twitch, when he softly barks in a dream, when his body fully relaxes, he is telling you, at the most primitive and biological level possible, that you are the safest place in his world. This isn't habit. This isn't dependency. It's absolute trust, expressed through the only language that never lies, the body. Any animal can learn to tolerate an environment. Any animal can adapt to a routine, but no animal voluntarily surrenders its survival defenses night after night in a place it does not consider sacred. And he chooses to do that beside you. Every night you let him jump onto the bed. Every night he settles beside you, lets out a deep sigh, and closes his eyes. He is placing his life in your hands. Not dramatically, not consciously, simply. In the most honest way a living being possibly can. That moment was never small to him. It shouldn't be small to you either.
If you watched all the way to the end, you're exactly the kind of owner we want here. Not the kind of person who simply has a dog, the kind of person who wants to understand the dog they have. That's why this channel exists. Every week, we take behaviors you see every single day and explain what they actually mean, backed by science, without the fluff, and always with the bond between you and your dog at the center of it all. If that resonates with you, subscribe. It'll cost you one click, and it may give you years of conversations you never realized you were already having with him. And before you leave the video, which of the 7 points connected with you the most? Write it down in the comments below. We read every single one.